What's up, guys? It's Dwayne from mountainbuck.com, where we go from backyard to backwoods. And guys, welcome back to the Ultimate Throw and Grow Food Plot video. This is part 3 in this video series. You might remember in part 1, we took 10 of the most popular and best-selling throw and grow food plot products available and grew them in some planter boxes. We test grew them, we checked out the seeds, we saw how long it took to germinate them, and we watched them develop over a 30-day period. In part 2, we moved those planter boxes up on the hill behind my house, gave the deer access to them, and watched how they developed from days 31 to 60. And now in part 3, we are at days 61 to 90. And that bit of time, that extra time to allow the plants to mature and develop and grow, really plays a huge, significant part on whether or not deer want to eat them. We do have deer and turkeys eating some of these products on the videos I'm about to show you, so it's pretty interesting stuff. We also had some really hot, dry days up here, which took a toll on some of the products as well. So for you guys that are in the hotter climates, hot, dry climates, that might be significant to you as well as you decide what to plant for your hunting season. So guys, if you haven't hooked me up and hit subscribe already, I'm not sure what you're waiting for. This is part 3. So do that if you can. Please hook me up, hit subscribe. That would be awesome. So let's check out some of these videos here. So my bad on the buck brunch. That's all the way to the right there on the end. I did not have the camera back far enough to get it all in. So day number 66 of this little experiment was the first day we got some action on these test plants, and this doe comes in and starts ripping into that hot chick from Domain Outdoors. She's really liking that chicory, which really came on strong in the last few weeks, and the clovers in that mix. Another doe here rolls in and takes a quick bite of Secret Spot and then moves out. Secret Spot, of course, has a really nice blend of products there, some brassicas, some clovers, some really nice stuff in there. And I didn't expect this one, but a squirrel helped himself a bit to the No BS product there, and he actually came back on multiple days and ate the same mix. It may be those winter oats that he's after, I'm not really sure. Here we are at day 77, and the doe here hits the Secret Spot first, checks around for a second, and then goes to get some of that hot chick. You guys will notice that my feeder is knocked over on the top left of the screen. A bear knocked it over and the corn spilled out. I mean, there's easy access to corn right there. She could just get in there and get some corn. But this doe still came and grabbed a few quick bites from that Secret Spot and hot chick. It is the morning here of day 81, and this doe helps herself to a little bit of that No BS and then absolutely demolishes that hot chick. She must be a Domain Outdoors kind of girl, liking that No BS and the hot chick. Deer are loving that chicory for sure. And here she is again, continuing on and going to town on that foundation clover, which has those 5 varieties of clover, and you know deer love those clovers. Here we are at day 83, and we have that little turkey chick roaming through and taking a few pecks there at Secret Spot and a quick bite of that No Plow. It is day 85 and the turkeys are back. This time the mom is eating some of that hot spot. Looks like she's getting after that wheat or ryegrass. And the chicks are snacking on some No BS and some Secret Spot. So it was really cool to see the deer come in and actually eat that stuff in those little planter trays. I mean, that was pretty cool that they took part in my experiment for me, helped me out a little bit. I'm sure if you had these products in a nice small food plot, you know, the deer would come in, they graze a little bit, take some time, and really spend some time in there, which if they're nice bucks or does or whatever you're after, that's going to give you opportunities to get some shots. So let's take a close-up look at how these plants look after 90 days. And keep in mind, we did have some really hot, dry temperatures, which impacted some of these plants in a negative way. We also had those deer coming in and just crushing some of those products. So keep that in mind as well. They did take a big chunk out of some of those little crops in there. So let's start with the throw and grow. Throw and grow here continued to grow these last 30 days, and you'll see that very tall ryegrass along with some clover and brassica. Same thing here for the throw and grow extreme. Ryegrass is very tall and maybe a few more patches of clover and brassicas growing up nicely. Up next is honey hole, and I'm really surprised that this actually bounced back as well as it did. I was a bit worried about it as it was losing its color in that part 2 video, but here it is with those brassicas and a couple really hardy and healthy clumps there, just growing back real nice and strong and real healthy in those clumps. No Plow has continued to grow up well with that nice variety of different plants, but it seems to have suffered a bit from the dry heat. Remember, this mix here is good for partially shaded areas with just 3 to 4 hours of sunlight a day. That brings us to Secret Spot, which is also good in partially shaded or partially sunny areas. But this stuff is thriving here after 30 days. I mean, look at that white clover, the white clover flowering there, and the beautiful crimson clover flowering. That dry heat hasn't had too much of an impact. The deer hit this one several times on trail cam, and it's nice to see one of my old favorites here, Secret Spot, just thriving and doing so well. So next up is No BS. And this has grown significantly over the past 30 days. The deer also hit this mix on video a few times, and it's hung in there despite the conditions here lately. And guys, that brings us to Hot Chick. I am 100% absolutely going to plant this stuff in my food plot for this fall. The deer kept hitting it, and it has held up incredibly well to the hot and dry conditions. I mean, look how green and lush it looks. Remember, this Hot Chick, this chicory in here, took a little bit longer to get established, a little bit longer to develop, but it was absolutely worth the wait because those deer love this chicory and those clovers in there, and this is something I'm definitely going to plant this summer, late summer for my fall season. So that brings us to Hotspot. Hotspot from Biologic here had a little bit of action from that hen. I'm not sure if she was going after the ryegrass or the wheat in there. But look at how big some of this stuff has gotten. It has gotten very high and has a lot going on in there. So Foundation Clover from Big Tine here is another one that the deer were interested in. We all know deer like clover, and with those 5 different varieties in there, they definitely found something they like. And this stuff is also staying nice and green. This Foundation Clover here is a perennial blend, so that means it's going to come back next year, and that's something you definitely may want to consider. So that brings us to Buck Brunch here. And this stuff has really flourished. This is jam-packed in the planter tray. It's super full and high. We see that ryegrass just popping out of there. So guys, you can see just how important it is to allow your throw and grow food plots that additional time for the plants to get established, let those plants grow, mature, and develop to make them more attractive for deer. We saw in part 2 of this video, from days 31 to day 60, the plants were growing up great, they look green, they look healthy, they looked awesome in the planter boxes, but the deer didn't touch them. They couldn't care less. They weren't interested. Here in part 3, starting on day 66, they came in, started eating this stuff, and they did it throughout the test period. And that's what we want. We want a successful throw and grow food plot so we can give ourselves some opportunities on the deer in the fall. Guys, I hope you learned a little something today, or at least found this informative. I know I sure did. As always, the links to the items we talked about are in the description below. Hook me up and hit subscribe. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next one.